so we're going to try something that we've really never tried before. We only came up with this idea about a week or two ago. We haven't really rehearsed this, but what we're going to try now is I'm going to try to improvise with the AI and with one of our colleagues at Monash, with Alon at Monash. We don't really know how this is going to go, but I think before we start, and I wanted to say we don't really know how it's going to go, but we're trying something, you know, really new, really quite different. So, Matthew, exactly what's going to happen now?
Okay, so Mark is going to play the piano, and it's going to generate a load of notes. They get
from your system.
The piano notes feed into the AI.
Yep.
The AI then models what you're playing and then generates something similar, or inspired by you, transmits that to Alon
in
Australia, who then receives that and is able to control what it's sending him with his AirStick hardware. And so he'll be improvising with a sort of phantom version of Mark, which we transmitted from the UK to Australia.
And remember, we've got a bit of a delay of about half a second, 1 second as well, haven't we? But this intermediary helps us sort of play, in some sense, more together than is possible without it.
Yeah, and it's really sort of working around that idea of exploring creative spaces that we may not have been able to get to without the AI. So the AI allows us to sort of free up the time to some extent and to give Alon something which he can explore, which is inspired by what you're playing.
Yes.
So it's really a different type of interaction than what we'd be able to do if, let's say, you just sent your piano straight to Alon and he sent his stuff straight back. It just gives us a whole other space to explore.
Great. Well, we're going to see how it goes now. So thank you very much. fantastic. I like that the best. Alon, how did you find that?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's like there's an AI phantom, you know, and it's like you have to. I think with the air sticks, for me, it becomes very liquidy and gassy, and you're trying to engage with it and control it and package it. And it's just really interesting to hear what you play and then try to imagine what the AI would do from it. And sometimes it's really interesting and close to what I think, and other times it's like, whoa, how do I deal with that?
Yeah, I think that's really amazing, isn't it? Because I'm on hyper alert to hear things that you're trying or to get some sense of intentionality, and I key into that. And then other times, if there's some space, I'll try out some ideas of my own, and it feels fluid sometimes with that push and pull. But it felt kind of really exciting. I'm kind of interested, Matthew, because you're a musician and you weren't playing, but it's your AI that's part of this trio. What was your experience?
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating that idea that it kind of draws you in to express, to explore new spaces for one, but also you're saying, you know, oh, I would try out some ideas. And what's really fascinating is that those new ideas get fed into the model as it's running, because it's learning all the time. So it's as soon as it's encouraged you to try out a new idea, it captures that idea and then potentially can throw that back out at Alon later. So it's always changing. So that you're prepared to kind of engage with it at that level means it really works in an interesting way, I think.
As Alon and the machine are you know, pushing my creativity, that's captured in the machine, and then that's brought into the performance with Alon, me, and the machine, and that's amazing.
Yeah, and this idea of the phantom sort of transmitted over, you know, all the way to the other side of the earth, and it's like a kind of weird statistical model of Mark's playing that's changing all the time and expressing itself. And that's landing in Alon's end of things, and he has to then work with that. It's quite a sort of mind-expanding concept, really. I think. Yeah.
Alon, any further thoughts about what it was like for you over there?
Well, I just love the fact that it has to exist with all three elements. So that without you, there's no AI, and without the AI coming into the air sticks, I can't control. You know, the timbre, the pitch information's all I'm getting from the AI, the pitch and the rhythm and so forth, and the intensity, I guess. So it's kind of funny that what we hear is a combination of those things and not them individually. It's like the sum of the parts is what we're hearing, which I really appreciate. And yeah, it covers any lag in the zoom, in the transmission of the MIDI across the world. It makes for a really interesting engagement.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you know, so I was kind of noticing that I wasn't looking at you, because what I was just keying on the musical messages and musical information I was getting from you and the AI, and I wondered that, you know, because that's, you know, I don't know if you're looking at me, Alon, but it was kind of interesting that I feel connected to you through the AI. I know you're there, and I know we're trying to make music together. But I didn't feel the need to have any visual clues from you, which is kind of interesting, just as a thought. I don't know whether you're looking at me or not, Alon. It's not clear to me, because I
was staring at you the whole time. and I think partly because I'm dealing with a version of you, so your physicality is actually quite important for my cues of what's coming, because the physical is almost different to what I'm hearing, because I'm hearing the AI version of you in amongst hearing you. So yeah, I needed, I think, that physicality to engage with at times.
And this leads us to a really interesting topic that Teresa, one of our colleagues at Monash, is leading on. It's the idea that, you know, we know each other as human beings. We can pick up these clues and intentionality. But Matthew, this idea about the AI actually explaining its decisions, is that something that we can think of in the future possibly to help us build better performances?
I think so. So I think music provides a really interesting area to work with the idea of AI being able to explain itself. And so, you know, if you knew a little bit more about what it was doing,
Yeah.
if it could somehow express to you, oh, well, at this point I was, you know, I was modelling you in this way, or I pulled out this bit of your playing and expressed that, maybe could that allow you to better tune it? So could you fine tune the model so that you could say, well, actually, I didn't really like that bit. Could you emphasise that bit a bit? So is there some way that you could interact with that model in an explainable kind of way that would make it better, a better experience for you and more effective?
Well, we're going to hear a bit more about that from Teresa later, but great talking with you guys. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks for the play.